Once again, it's your boy, ZTV, back with another video, and I want to talk about some more Street Fighter 6. Now, while everybody's been predicting the DLC roster, I want to predict who I think was going to be the final boss. And it's going to be basically two bosses that I'm coming to mind. And I'm just going to basically create another scenario, much like I did in the Lily video. For those who are watching it, I suggest you go check that out. But I feel now that we're in the timeline of Street Fighter 3, and we're like 6 years away according to the timeline chronologically, I think it's time for one of these two to be the next final boss of the game. Now, if you basically, for those who played all three of the Street Fighter from New Generation, Second Impact, and Third Strike, you know that according to like Urian's like ending, he basically killed off Gil. You know, and I think it's time for Urian to be the final boss. I think it's Urian's time, because those that play Street Fighter 5, you'll know that Urian has hair like his brother Gil. And to be honest, Urian was always jealous of Gil anyway. You know, he was just he was envious. In Second Impact, he was surprised that Gil was even the leader of the organization. All along, Urian wanted to be the leader of it. He felt that he should be in charge of everything, not Gil. And to me, is you got to follow the actual storyline. In Urian's storyline, he kills off Gil anyway. And to me, I think it's just time for another boss anyway. I'm tired. I'm tired of seeing the same Shadow Loot. I'm tired of seeing Bison. Now, Bison is dead anyway. He's completely gone. There's no need to bring Bison back anymore. I think Shadow Loot is pretty much killed off. Because if you look at all the members from Vega, Balrog, and even Sagat, they all went their separate ways. Let's just be honest. There's no more Shadow Loot. Fong is definitely not coming back. As far as I'm concerned, Fong is kind of a failed character anyway. Nobody really liked him. I mean, yeah, there are people that play with him. That's because those are people that are Fong mains. But this new character, this new female character that they leaked, I don't want her to be nothing a part of Shadow Loot at all. It's time to kill that off. And there's no more dolls for him to take over anyway. All the dolls have been pretty much like either rescued or gone. Because if you look at Fox and then Ed rescued her, and then Ed basically killed off the last of Bison. He killed off his spirit. And then Cammy's pretty much doing her own thing. She's living a normal life. You know, Cammy was freed since after Street Fighter 2 or 4. There's no more DiCaprio. Like, all the dolls are gone. And I told y'all, if Julie comes back, she's coming back as Juliana. She's no longer Julie like she was when she was a doll. That's gone. And to be honest, y'all, I'm tired of Gil. I done had enough of Gil. I think Gil time has pretty much ran its course. He served his purpose in the Street Fighter series. It's time to just let him just be put to bed. I don't want to see Gil come back. I had enough of Gil's brokenness. The fact that he could regenerate between round 2. You know, say he could grab you and do that Archangel attack. That fire kinesis that's done. Why not let his brother take over now? Now, this is where I got Ken in the scenario. I say Ken right there could pretty much just be taken over by the Dark Doe. Because supposedly the leaked storyline, Ken is pretty much depressed. He's going through a rough time, but I have it set up to where Ken have a scenario like Akuma did in Street Fighter, the new challengers. Where if you go through the game without continues, and it's on normal hard mode, that means right after you face Urian and you defeat Urian, Ken shows up. And Ken reveals that him and Urian went in cahoots anyway. Because if you look at the storyline, Ken's undefeated in the U.S. Martial Arts Tournament anyway. That man never lost. So Ken is lusting for power. Like, he wants to surpass Ryu. And I have it to where if you beat Urian, he shows up and tells you that I'm the one in charge. I'm the one that actually hosts this whole tournament. Yada, yada, yada. And I know what I'm saying. Like, you're my final opponent. I gotta prove that I'm the strongest. And I mean, he just hulk up. He just goes crazy. His skin turns to dark, red hair, right? He just rips out his shirt. He just becomes bulked up, and then his like powers, his power, his Shuriken is a lot stronger now. That man, like his Hadoukens are actual fire. Like, I just have Ken just master his technique ability. Yeah, it's time for these two to be the final boss. And Urian, you can have Urian's hair longer, but half his skin look like 12, the other half is dark. And he's fully got the he's fully mastered his elemental, that electricity, and it's steel. Like he's fully mastered. So yeah, it's time for Ken to shine. We didn't see enough of Akuma being the final boss. We've had Shin Akuma, we've had Mega Akuma, we've had every version of Akuma you could think of. So is Ryu. You had Ryu and he had Kage, which is another form of Ryu. It's time to let Ken have his darker dope form. I'm just be honest. It's time for these two to be the final two bosses of Street Fighter 6. And I think that would work out well. I'll throw a swerve in there. Because if you look at Ken's storyline, his family is rich. They filthy rich. And I'll make it to where like Urien is interested in the Dark Cado's power. Urien wants to see that power for himself. So Urien somehow made a deal with Ken. Because he's trying to draw out Ken's power and absorb it with his machines or whatever, so he can pretty much channel that power for himself and become even stronger. Whereas Urien like gets defeated, Ken gets disappointed and be like, Urien wasn't what I thought he was, so it's time for me to be the man and take over. That's what I'll do. Like Ken just getting evil on his own. He don't need Bison. He just needs somebody to influence him. This is him reaching a certain level. And you can throw out a scenario where Ryu goes into the to activate his Shin form just to face Ken. Okay, so Ken, this is what you want, right? I gotta go in this with you just to defeat you. I have it to where the player can play as a Shin version of Ryu. Or same way with Ken. If you beat the game, if you go through the game with Ken, Ryu shows up and he's super powered. Like Ken, this is your test. Like I said, if you're gonna come on with Street Fighter 6, make it interesting. Let's let one of these characters be the final boss now. You don't have to have Gil or Bison anymore. I definitely don't want to see Seth either. I'm done with Seth. I don't even like the fact that they changed Seth in Street Fighter 5 and made him transgender. Like, there was no need for that. Let Seth be one or. There's enough female characters anyway. If you want to make a transgender character, make somebody brand new, like you're doing for these other characters on here. And that's just me. Because, yeah, there's no more Shadow. Bison's gone. Because I think Sagat might not even be around no more. Scott might just be retired like Chun-Li is. Because this dude, that new kickboxer fighter they got with the red hair, she's a new Sagat anyway. She looks like a Muay Thai fighter. But I predict she's somebody that Aiden's been training. So you may see Aiden come by in the next Street Fighter 6, which I'm going to make a DLC video too. Because I definitely think Aiden is going to come back in some way or form, but that new Muay Thai fighter is definitely somebody he trained. But yeah, man, like it's a lot of interesting storylines that they leaking, but as far as I'm concerned, Ken will be like a boss. He'll be a scenario boss, but you have to compete a certain condition to get Ken to go into that mode. But Urien is definitely like the regular basic boss. You got your sub boss, which would be the character's rival, but it's gonna be one of these. These are gonna be like the final two bosses when you reach a certain extent. But I think it's time for Urien to shine, because Urien to me is the leader of the Illuminati. That's who Helen will be working with. And Helen will have a reason to come back too, but she's not come back as Colin no more. Remember, she's Helen now. But she done found out that somehow Urien killed Gil and wants revenge, but she secretly has to do it undercover. But I'll put it to where Helen's now Urien's assistant, and Balrog and Ed will also be working for Urien too. Because you look at Balrog's storyline, Urien paid him money to retrieve certain items. So I'll put it to where Balrog's done under Urien. Urien and Ed are now under Balrog. Like Balrog and Ed, are now under Urien. I have Urien have his own unit. Basically, Helen, Balrog, and Urien will be under Urien along with Ken. These two have somehow made a deal with that next tournament. Which Ryu and Urien and Sakura and them, they don't know about it. Charlene doesn't know about it, but Ken is secretly getting himself stronger. Waiting his time to just strike. He's only going like that because he's just, again, he's depressed between, he's trying to balance out the darker Dode and then him being a normal person. But it's driving his family apart. And the fact that his wife left out with his son is just angering him even more. But Ken is definitely rich. Ken has the money to organize tournaments. And the Illuminati is taking an interest in Ken. And now I have it to where Urien also has 14 in the game. Like 12 won't be around him, maybe 14. And he also found out how Q became how G became Q. Q also shows up in this video game. He'll definitely be a DLC. But yeah, definitely these two, man, would be the hosts of the of Street Fighter 6 tournament. That's how I'll put it in. It's just time for Kim to just be a boss. Full power, dark, right? Fire, purple and fire. His moves are fully elevated. He's buff. He's ripped out of his shirt. He's ripped up. He just goes crazy, and that's only after Urien is defeated. But I think it's just time. Why not have a boss? Why not have a Why not have a character that's a basic character become a boss? That's why I think it's time. Again, we don't need Gil anymore. Gil got killed off by Urien. Because think about it too, man. I understand. Now I've listened to Top Hat Gaming. He's another guy who covers the Street Fighter series along with History Behind the Warrior. But you can't take Gil's ending as canonical because when Urien saw Gil, Gil was recovering in that tank. Gil would not have enough strength. He would not be fully out there to survive that explosion. So pretty much Urien and Gil are pretty much like Cain and Abel, basically. Urien is pretty much Cain to Gil's Abel. So that's how I have it. It's time for these two to be the bosses of Street Fighter 6. You know, so let's spice things up. Let's make things different. Because I don't want to see Bison no more. Right? Bison, I think if Bison's dead, there's no need for him to come back. Shaoloo is pretty much done. No more Seth, neither Sin is gone as well. You don't need Gil come back. I think Gil is gone. Let Gil rest in peace. I done had enough of Gil. Gil has been a boss in now 4 different Street Fighter games. You know, it's time for his brother to now take his role. Let's let Ken have a dark form now. That we can officially use it in 3D. And I'm not talking about the Nintendo Switch version of Street Fighter Final Fighters because everybody can't play that. They do not have a port like that on the PS4, as far as I looked into. Where you have Violent Ken. No, it's time for Violent Ken to be one of the final bosses. Him and Urien. Where Urien has long hair like Gil, except half his skin is silver, like 12's was, and his other half is dark. Like all this is like black. Because he has, again, he has steel and electricity. He's fully mastered these perfector shields. And I'll give both Ken and Urien new moves. But yeah, Urien is definitely a boss, right? He definitely has his own army. Remember, he's the new leader of the Illuminati now. If we're going to follow the storyline. And then we could bring back Necro. We could definitely bring back Oro because that's who Ryu's training under. Ryu training on Oro is what got him to master that Darker Do and get it under control. Akuma's gonna come back, of course. But Chun-Li, Luke, those characters are confirmed. But yeah, definitely these two are the final bosses. That's just what I predict. And I hope Capcom is listening somewhere because it's time for this guy definitely. Urien definitely needs his turn now. Let's have a brand new boss. And I don't want to see no more Shaoloo. Please don't bring no more Shaoloo back into this game. Because if you look at all the entire Street Fighter 3 series, there is no Shaoloo. Cammy was not even around that game. Neither was Guile or Charlie. Those guys don't have a reason to come back no more. Guile's only gonna come back now because he has a reason behind it. They wrote him into the game. But as far as like Nash, like Shadow and all that, he doesn't have a reason to come back. His mission is done. They finally kicked off Bison. And if you look at Guile's ending in Street Fighter 4, he basically prevented Bison from taking control of Rose, because Rose was supposed to be another form of him, for him to use, another body. Guy saved Rose from Bison in his Street Fighter 4 ending. So yeah, there's no more of them dolls. Bison is completely dead. And again, we way into the future. So that's just it. But that's just what I want to touch on. I just think these two need to be the bosses. If not both, at least have Urien as a final boss. But I definitely think it's time for Ken to have an evil form of himself. A superpower form. Where his Hadouken is a straight up fire now. Like his V-trigger is just crazy. It's time for Violent Ken to be in the game. In these new PS5, Xbox Series X graphics. It's just time. It's time to let these two get some run in as a boss. But that's just it. That's my scenario. I thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all tell me what y'all think. You know, who you think is going to be the final boss of this game.